fellow humans, and welcome back to another daily dice. We ask the dice for a message and find out what that is. I do want to say thank you to anyone and everyone that continues to be a supportive part of this journey. I'm truly honored to be sharing this time and space with you, and for anybody new here, welcome. This is a reminder that we're all here sharing this human experience together, and that this is a safe space to show up as your highest, most aligned, loving, authentic self. If you are truly new here, we do things a lot differently here on this channel. So I suggest strapping in, hanging on, and you and I are going to find out together. And should the messages happen to resonate along the way, it would really mean the world to me if you were to like, comment, and subscribe below. And with that, today I did get a channel message. It was, you're all that they think about. We're going to find out more what that entails. We're going to be using the Fairy Blessing cards to get a message today by Lucy Cavendish. Such a beautiful deck. I love this deck. I rarely bring it out, and I couldn't tell you why. Probably because there are other ones that I use more frequently, and that's just the way it is. But let's see. So, Source, my fellow humans are all they think about. What Fairy Blessing card is going to help us better understand what this means and what this entails? My fellow humans are all that this person thinks about. What Fairy Blessing Oracle card is going to help us better understand this message and what it means? What does this mean, Source? What Oracle card is going to help us better understand what this means, that this person is thinking about my fellow humans and that they're all that they think about? Thank you. On the bottom, we have a blessing of honesty. Wow. With number 5. I love this. Look at this. So beautiful. I'm going to read her from the book. See what she says. Isn't that funny? A blessing of honesty. So I feel like they've been thinking about being honest with you about where they are. For some of you, that might mean something. For others of you, that might be like, I don't give two craps. It says, the fairy gift of truthfulness and the inability for others to be false win with you. Yeah. The fairy gift of honesty is now yours. Your ability to see clearly what is true and what is not. To hear the words that are truthful. To speak the truth in ways that will be heard. To live from the heart with integrity and openness is with you now. The fairy are not the duplicitous creatures of myth and legend. They can be nothing other than themselves. And at this time and with this gift, you settle effortlessly into the truth of your own being. There is no need for you to be anything other than who you are, for who you are so earthy and real that others begin to feel how safe it is to be themselves. There is a simplicity and a connectedness, and you will shine out amongst all those who have cloaked themselves in artifice. There will be no self-deception and no lack of clarity. You are who you are, and that, human friend, is a blessing to the whole planet. People will be open and honest with you, and all will be clear and true. Yeah, so with this coming through, I do feel like this person's been thinking about bringing some sort of honesty to you, some sort of clarity. But there is a lot of resistance with this message. And I feel like because they're feeling like you might judge them harshly for how they've appeared or how they've shown up in this connection. Let's go ahead and get more about it. So, Source, this person is only thinking about my fellow humans. What would you like to share? My fellow humans are all they think about. What more would you like to share with us, Source? My fellow humans are all they think about. What more would you like to come through? Yeah, I definitely feel like they're just uncertain of which way is going to be right for them. Like, they want to be honest because you're an honest person, but they're also recognizing that honesty could be the one thing that really hurts you more than just staying away. And they don't want to hurt you anymore, and they don't want to be that person that brings you down anymore. But they're also feeling the heaviness of misrepresenting themselves when they were with you. So there's definitely a struggle here. We have the 12th house. Yeah, we have Libra energy. Oh my gosh, yeah. And then Mercury. Of course Mercury is going to show up. Exactly what I was feeling. Like they want to come forward, but there's a lot of guilt and there's a lot of pain here. But feeling the need to balance this out, to bring harmony to the imbalance that they created in this connection. And, you know, we can blame it on them all that we want. At the end of the day, they showed up from the place that they could show up as. There was no other way for them to be in this connection at that time. Even if we wanted them to be, like, there's just no way they could have been someone else in this connection. And there's this energy that's coming through where it's like, I feel like I did them dirty. I feel like I wasn't honest with you. And I feel like I wasn't capable of sharing what it was that I was feeling internally with you, because it was safer for me to hide, and it was safer for me to stay in that place of the shame and the guilt and the blame and self-blame. I feel like this person blames themselves a lot for everything. And I mean, at the end of the day, it's like, you could be like, good, they should blame themselves, but that's also not a healthy place for us to be in, because that's showing that we still have healing to do and forgiveness to come into and surrender as well, because if they would have been able to show up differently, they could have. But with the Mercury energy here, they do want to say something. Whether they do or not is going to be dependent on the person. You know, I can say, of course, they want to communicate with you. Communication is heavily on their minds. It's even on their hearts. But action speaks louder than words at this point. And so it's going to be dependent on if they feel like they're going to act. Because I do feel a sense of resistance here with wanting to come forward and clear the air and to get rid of the illusion that's been painted between the two of you. And the illusion could be a lack of love, or it could be that maybe you were the only person loving in this connection. You know, there's this song, and I can't remember who sings it, but it talks about, like, he's saying, how was it so damn easy for you to let go? Was I loving you all on my own? And I feel like that's exactly what you're feeling in this connection. Like, maybe I was the only one that was loving you. Maybe I was the only one that was invested in this connection. And I feel like that may or may not be true. What I do feel like is that appears to be true, right? And sometimes appearing to be true feels more real than what actually is happening. And in this, why I say that is because I feel like this person was also invested in the connection with you, but they didn't have anything to give because they weren't giving to themselves. And so the place that they showed up from was literally how they were treating themselves. And that's what they could give to you. And that was not very much. And that's what this is feeling. And so this person they're only thinking about you, they definitely do want to bring a sense of balance, but more than balance, they want to bring a sense of clarity, because they do feel like you deserve an honest response. They feel like they just really dropped the ball when it came to you, and that they messed up. And maybe they did, and maybe you're like, yeah, they did. They messed up so much. Like, they deserve whatever karma they're getting and stuff too. And remembering that, at least if you're on my channel, I'm always going to call it out. Like, I know it's okay to feel that way, and you got to validate those feelings, but if we're living in that energy, that's a blueprint for us to healing, right? That's saying, okay, well, I have these angry feelings towards this person, which is understandable for the way that they treated me. But at the same time, knowing that if I'm staying and residing in this anger, that it's not helping me either, right? We want to help ourselves, so that way then we can help others. And maybe you don't want to help others, and that's okay, but we still have to help ourselves. So it's interesting that they keep bringing that up, because I do feel like someone here is very, very upset about the way that things conspired between you and this person, and they just couldn't be honest with you when you were asking for honesty, because they were not being honest with themselves. So what that usually means is that they're too heavily influenced by other people. They're influenced by what other people might think, or they're being influenced by their trauma. And if we're only looking at it as like, no, that person was completely aware of the way that they treated me, we're not honoring that this person has a journey in their own life that we're not aware of. Even if we think we are, we're probably not aware of the whole story. And so not being aware of the whole story, that's giving our emotional ego room to fill in what we think should fit there, not what necessarily went down. Wow, this is already a deep reading and we're barely starting. Okay, so Source, this person is only thinking about my fellow humans. What would you like to say? And it's interesting that Source is bringing up this side of things to come back to this non-judgmental place with this person. Yeah, there's a lot of negativity between the two of you. There's a lot of negativity between the energetic connection that you have with each other. And now there's never a time when in tarot or, you know, whatever, like I'm giving these messages, I'm never going to be the person that says, oh my gosh, like you have to give this person another chance, right? Because in my mind, it's about you and it's about where you're at on the journey. And that's from my own experience and what I've learned on my journey and the downloads that I receive. But if a tarot reader is telling you that you have to give this person a chance, like that just goes against you listening to your own intuition. And remember not to give your power away like that. But when we're looking at judgment, through the journey and through understanding what judgment is a very harsh emotion to stay in. And it builds a lot of resistance in our own journey and in our own selves. And that can create and manifest in various different ways, i.e. a similar situation that's going to trigger us again, or an ailment that's going to set us back, and something that we have to actually go and delve within. And so here I am getting, it would benefit you to maybe check out the Ho'oponopono prayer, and you can search that on YouTube. It's a meditation that you can do, but it's 4 phrases that in Hawaii they use. The Ho'oponopono means to make right twice. So it says, I'm sorry, please forgive me, I love you, and I thank you. And we say it twice over so that we're forgiving of this person, but we're also forgiving of ourselves. And we're reminding this person that they're still worthy of love, but we're also reminding ourselves that we're still worthy of love. And that no matter what, at the end of the day, we wouldn't be who we were if we didn't connect with the people that we connected with. So there should be that sense of gratitude, even if this person was just all out hell in our lives. Like without that in your life, you wouldn't be who you are today. And if you appreciate yourself and accept yourself wholly today, then there's that sense of gratitude that, you know what, they still played a vital part on my journey that helped me to come into this place of self-acceptance and true radical self-acceptance. So this reading, what Source wanted me to bring up this reading, it's not actually truly about this other person. This reading has to do with you and where you're at on your healing journey. And I do feel like they wanted to tell you, like, yes, they do want to tell you some sense of honesty here. They want to share that honesty with you, especially with the honesty card coming out, the blessing of honesty on the bottom. But it's interesting because this card is also twofold. It talks about you being blatantly honest with yourself, right? If we want honesty from others, we have to be 100% blatantly honest with ourselves. And sometimes that's not a very pretty story, right? Sometimes it has its difficulties and its ugly parts, and that's okay. Yeah, okay, so we have the Queen of Coins, the Queen of Coins on the bottom in the reverse here. So this is about someone who is very overbearing in your energy, or who is taking over a lot of your energy and maybe trying to make you see that things weren't as they were, or they were trying to control the situation, or this comes from the mother wound as well. Someone who didn't have a problem stepping on toes, getting to where they wanted to be at. And there's this sense here where it's like, I don't owe them anything, and you don't owe them anything, right? And honestly, you don't even owe them your forgiveness. We forgive to set ourselves free. So it's not about owing them forgiveness. It's about how free do you want to be from the burden of this memory. That's really the question we ask when we talk about forgiveness. Because when you're talking about it that way, you're seeing that, okay, no, like I really need to free myself from the chains of the past. But if you're saying, oh, it's because it's owed to them. No, it's not owed to them. It's not owed to them the way that they treated you. It's not owed to them the way that they showed up. We're just trying to make it clear that they showed up because they had a whole nother past before you came along that they experienced that has led them to being the way that they were. Whether that was right or wrong, it doesn't matter. It was right for them, even if it was wrong for you, right? Just like the way that was right for you might have been wrong for them, but that doesn't make it right or wrong. because it means that you had to follow your heart and do what was right or wrong for you. And so what we're talking about here is that surrendering of this energy. There's a lot of negativity coming through. There's a lot of getting caught up in lost causes here with this situation. This is a very heavy reading already. It came in as heavy already. I want to be honest, but I do feel like your soul is asking you to be honest with yourself. Look at that. We got 7-7 coming out here. Emotional boundaries. You're stepping over your own emotional boundaries in regards to this relationship. And the emotional boundaries can very much be sitting in a place of resentment towards this person. Like, oh, screw them. Like, they deserve whatever karma they're getting. They deserve that. You know, we never stop to think, was I ever the villain in someone else's story? I felt that. My throat chakra, I felt like someone stuck a knife in my throat chakra right now. I felt that. That was hard to take. You know, and that's the thing. When we stop and think about that for just a second, was I ever the villain in someone else's tale? It starts to put things into perspective for us. If we have villains in our stories, then it's safe to say that we are probably the villain in someone else's story. But then we have to look back at that and think, was it intentional? I already heard you guys say no. I heard it come out no. Right, it wasn't intentional. But we can say that people hurt us with true intention, and maybe they did, but maybe, just maybe, there's more going on behind the scenes than we could ever actually truly imagine. And so us saying that they absolutely knew wholeheartedly how they treated us says that we know the whole situation from start to finish, which is absolutely impossible. No matter how much you get to know someone, and even if someone holds no secrets with you, there's no amount of life that would ever give you the whole of their story, because you had to live your life separate from theirs. And you're not with them every day, every second of every day, nor are they recounting every second of every day with you. So we're very unaware of so much of people's stories here. And so there's an emotional boundary that's been crossed here. And there's this getting involved in lost causes. So I do feel like this might have been someone that you were chasing at some point, or someone that you were begging to love you, right? And that's hard when we're in a people-pleasing energy, or when we're reenacting that feeling that we had to beg for love from caretakers, from parents, from people in our lives as a child. You know, we had to perform in order to receive love, not just receive love for being ourselves. And so here, what Source is asking is, what are you doing in your own life for yourself? Are you giving yourself love freely, or are you feeling like you can only love yourself when, and insert whatever when is, right? When I lose weight, or when I'm fully healed, or when I'm successful, or when I have money, or when I have love in my life, or when, you know, this person gets their karma, or when whatever it is. And so with this combination, it's saying that you have an opportunity here to get out of the mindset that has put you into saying, I'm gonna blame everyone else outside of me, because there's no blame here. Everybody has broken hearts they don't deserve. There's a song, and I don't remember who sings it, but it's called The Long Way Home. And it's a country song, but it's worth listening to or reading the lyrics. It says, everybody's got a story, right? And what is it? Everybody's a dreamer until they wake up. Everybody has a broken heart they don't deserve, right? And some of us got to take the long way home, which means some of us don't get it until sometimes it's too late. And I feel like that's exactly why this person's thinking about you all the time. They finally figured it out, but too little, too late. And that's okay. You don't have to invite this person back into your energy. It's not about that. But with the honesty thing that's coming through, yes, this person wants to be honest with you, but your spirit, your internal self is asking you to be 100% honest with yourself here. You know, is it really all this person's fault, or did we play a part in it? And, you know, I shared a lot of this. If you've ever caught any part of my podcast, which I don't record now, but I stopped recording at the beginning of the year for personal reasons. But if you've ever caught any of my podcasts, I've talked about my journey. And I talked about how I was in an incredibly abusive relationship for 8 years. And I could blame him. right? I could blame him for everything I went through. But ultimately, at the end of the day, I chose to stay, even when options were given to me and clear options to get out. I still chose to stay until I was ready to leave. And being honest with myself about that and healing from that has been such a journey for me. And realizing that I was in a state of blame. It was always his fault. It was because he was such a terrible person. It was because he was the abuser. It was because him, this. But at the end of the day, I still stayed in a very toxic situation. And the question can become why, but it was because I was trying to prove to him that I was lovable and that I was worthy of love. And ultimately, I was chasing something that didn't exist in our dynamic. And so it feels like you're chasing something here. At one point, you might not be now, but at one point you were chasing something that didn't exist in this dynamic. And then when you finally said goodbye, this person was like, oh my gosh, like I finally see it, right? Oftentimes we don't recognize what we have until it's gone. And that's what this feels like. There's just this dynamic. And so there's this want of honesty, or you're asking for them to be honest to you. But I do feel like Source coming in with the honesty card on the bottom here is, yes, they're thinking about you all the time, but at this point we have to truly be honest with ourselves. And where are we when it comes to this connection? And what is it teaching me? And where can I heal more from this connection? But more than healing, where can I let go so that this doesn't keep me captive on my journey anymore? Because you deserve to be free. You deserve to let yourself experience freedom from whatever this brought into your life, because I'm not feeling that that was a good thing that this brought into your life. There's definitely a emotional roller coaster. And also with 7, 7's a very spiritual number, but 7 for me also talks about there's luck waiting for you if you change what it is that you're doing. So we have 7 upright, 7 reverse, right? So there's this canceling out of the energy. In order for you to realize your luck, we have to recognize what emotional boundaries, because this is the emotional card, we were allowing to be stepped over, but not necessarily by another person. But what were we moving the line backs that we said, moving lines that we said we'd never cross, right? Where was I doing that? And what impact did that hold for me? So we have house 3, look at this. Early learning, childhood relations, the rational mind, and communication. We're already seeing there's something here that's been playing out as a toxic pattern in not only your life, but in this person's life as well. This is something that was learned early on. This is something that holds power over both of you. And both of you were the mirror to one another to letting this go. But sometimes it's hard to see. Especially in this day and age when we're told that, oh, we have to have someone to blame. It's someone else's fault. What if no one's at fault? It's just something that happened because of our past. Well, then we can blame the past. But the past is product of its past too. Which is product of its past. Which is product of its past. Which is product of its past. Do you see what I'm saying? Eventually, you run out of places to place blame. Because there really is no blame. It's just something that happened. It's something that transpired. And can you be okay with that being the reason? Is that closure enough for you? And if it's not, why? Why is that not closure enough for you? Because at the end of the day, we're looking for, and the candle just went out. Interesting that that candle went out and this one didn't. But at the end of the day, we're looking for closure from people. We want solid closure. We want them to tell us why. We want them to tell us the truth. We want them to tell us this. But even if somebody did come forward and tell you those things, it would never be a reason enough why for you, because you would never give in like that. You would never give up like they did. You would never feel that way that they did, right? Until you do. Do you see what I'm saying? So we're asking for closure that ultimately, even if we got that closure, would still never be enough. So we're asking for something that's not going to give us closure. We want an excuse that's going to settle the feeling that we have inside of us. But what if the feeling inside of us doesn't need to be settled as much as it needs to be faced? Radical honesty on the bottom of the deck. Oh my gosh. To believe in the facade is to suffocate in the armor of alienation, self-defeat, and self-denial. I just humor me. I'm going to grab the book because that is too synchronistic. Two completely different decks. This is the Lantern Oracle here, and I love this. It's a new deck that I got just recently. So from two different decks for the Honesty card to come out, it says the Mother Warrior assures you that it is okay and that not at all a failure or flaw to experience disappointments, betrayals of the heart, and confusion. Rather, this is what it is to be transparently and universally human. Wow. She encourages you to look candidly at your current limitations and past the regrets and the things that you wish were not a part of your character or life story. The Mother cautions you against continuing to deny any unwanted reality in your life and your uncomfortable feeling about it. It is not okay to ignore what does not authentically fit you. That creates unease or any kind of self-compromise or incongruency in your life. While denial seems to be an easy and simple solution to what evokes aversion or discomfort in us, it is not. To maintain the ongoing armor or facade of denial leads to a life on the battlefield of perpetual deceit, manipulation, strategy, and estrangement from ourselves and from others. As time continues to go by, what is avoided or denied grows into an ever harder and larger landmine to navigate. While honesty can hurt and be brutal in the moment of disclosure, the acute pain of it is always temporary. True, a rough patch of disruption, tension, and chaos typically follows moments of radical honesty, but it does eventually dissipate. The turmoil is never the life sentence that avoidance, denial, and deception are. If and when some sort of upheaval does ensue, please understand that this is necessary and is for your long-term benefit. This process unhooks you from whatever dishonest armor and lifestyle had distorted and blocked you from your spirit, capital S, self. The releasing of armor you had lived with for so long that it became part of you can hurt as it breaks away. Detox of any kind is never pretty, comfortable, or pleasant. Nevertheless, it will pass like the tide and leave an invaluable life-propelling lesson upon your shore. Know that every time you surrender to tumultuous feelings, you are releasing the heavy armor of deceits that are no longer yours to carry. Let the uncomfortable emotions flow, all of their unpleasantness completely through and out of you. Whenever they rise up in the well of your being, release them with self-love, acceptance, and appreciation for what is no more. The path of radical honesty can only beget more honesty. No one, regardless of how perfect they or their situation may seem, is immune to the full spectrum of life, which is what I was talking about. We all have pain, shadows, insecurities, battle scars, stories of shames, and things we wish we had handled with more grace. Everybody has a broken heart they don't deserve. As you become increasingly transparent, you attract more authentic and like-minded people, and those of the lie fall away. Mother's message is: consider your reality as a mirror reflecting all of yourself back to you. See yourself through the eyes of compassion and love. Make it a priority to experience yourself in an authentic connection with others and feel your world transform into the joyful fulfillment of all that you have been fighting for. I could not have said it better myself. In fact, that just totally summed up everything that I've been feeling within this reading, and being radically honest with yourself. There's a deep need for you to be honest with yourself, because it feels like right now the easiest thing for you to do is to cast the blame onto this person. It's not that they're free from blame, But what if there's no one to really blame in the situation and the past, right? No one is free from the full spectrum of life. So what if the past was just playing its part in this person's life, and instead of seeing that, we decided to fill it in with what we thought it should have been that made more sense to us so that the emotional ego could continue to ensue here. But we're needing to face the emotional ego within ourselves. Where have we crossed our own emotional boundaries? Wow. Do something for someone. Give your attention to another. Okay, this is very telling. This is saying that do something for someone else. There's someone else in your life that you can focus your attention on that might actually even bring in a sense of healing for you along the way as well. And remembering that will help you let this go, will help you surrender. Yeah, so this person does want to communicate. And also this could be so that you can receive this communication from a place of love and compassion. It doesn't mean that I'm receiving it and now suddenly you have a segue into my life. But it's saying that maybe you can receive it and come from a place of hearing this person out for what they have to say, and then saying, I appreciate you for your honesty, but I'm still in the same place I was and I don't see us going any further. That's fine, right? But we have communication, news, phone call, direct message. So I do feel like they do want to share some sort of honesty with you here. They do want to come forward and say something. So it could have been a hookup, one night stand, intimacy, casual relationship, or a fling. This was something that wasn't very serious, but could have turned into something incredibly serious, or at least in your mind, it was played out as something serious. Social media, spying, online, reminiscing, and networking. Now, I do have to ask the question, are you spying on them? Guilty as charged. I've done that too, okay? Like, being honest with ourselves. We have to be honest with ourselves. Making sure that you're not in this energy where you're constantly giving them your attention and constantly looking up and seeing what's going on in their life. I've been there. I've done that, and it doesn't end well. It just creates a lot of unwanted emotions, and we're only doing it to not face ourselves. And so this is that reminder to face yourself here. So we do have proposal here, love, offer, engagement, agreement, wish come true. Source is trying to bring you something that you've always wanted into your life. Let's get a message of Cosmic Oracle, of the Cosmic Oracle cards. What else? Source, this person is only thinking about my fellow humans. What else would you like to say? On the bottom, trust yourself always. Trust others once they've earned it. That's a very telling message. Maybe you trusted this person completely from the first time that you met them, and then they broke your trust, but did they ever give you reason to trust them before you gave them your trust? Or was it the attraction? You know, being honest with ourselves helps us discern that for ourselves so that we don't make that mistake again. Anxiety. Yeah, this is causing a lot of anxiety in your life. This is causing a lot of upheaval in your life as well. And it's difficult, right? And it's okay. You're not alone. And for those of you that this is resonating with, would you please put a purple heart down below and just say you're not alone, or just leave the purple heart down below so that other people on this reading know that they're not alone in this, not alone in feeling this, not alone in going through this. Look, I've been there too. I've experienced it on my own journey. I've experienced it with my twin flame. I even experienced it with my abusive ex. The Stockholm Syndrome is a very real thing, and having to convince myself not to reach out to him after I ran across the country to get away from him. And for days, I was just reminding myself, just one more day, because the want to reach back out to him, even knowing that it was a very toxic situation, was so high, and it was so hard to overcome. But I somehow did it, and I somehow have not contacted him for 7 years now, and I am in a much better place, and he has definitely tried to reach out to me. And because of the situation, I leave it as is. You know, I don't say anything. I just delete the message and move on and leave it at that. And I've blocked him from all of my media and everything like that, because what we went through, I gave him ample time to apologize. I gave him ample time to state what he was saying, right? And it's not a hurt place that I'm coming from, because I've finally forgiven him. And honestly, every time he messages me, the first thing I say is that I wish him happiness. And I wish that he finds that happiness in a way that helps him to relinquish his past trauma. Because I don't want another person to deal with what I had to with him. And so I'm hoping that my prayers are received by his higher self and helping him to align with his best good, so that whoever's next, he treats with respect, with honor, with care, and has integrity for the relationship. Because that's not what was created within our relationship. But I no longer hold him accountable for what he did. I see my own part in it, and I recognize that healing comes from knowing that I had an opportunity plenty of times to leave, and I didn't. And my situation just ensued because I was so attached to the idea of the relationship rather than the truth of what was happening. And so I honor where I played my part in it. And a lot of people, they like to victim shame. They like to blame the victim in the situation, saying, well, you should have figured it out sooner. But until you're in a situation like that, it's really difficult to be in that situation and honor that you might stay longer than you would. And I feel like this is one of those situations. You were a victim in this situation, and it's not about blaming you, but it is about honoring the part that you've played in this connection, because we all play a part. It takes two to tango. At the end of the day, no matter what the connection is, it takes two to tango. If you're staying in an abusive situation, you're still a partner in that situation. If you're the abuser in the situation, you're still a partner in that situation. So it takes both of you taking accountability for your own actions while not forcing the other to take accountability for theirs, because we can't do that. There's nothing that I could have ever said or done in my life that would have made him take accountability for how he showed up. That's not how it would have ever played out, right? And even with my twin, I tried to manipulate my twin into connecting with me, into saying that he liked me, into saying just being a part of my life. And I realize all of these things now, that these are things that we have to go through and we have to let go. That's a part of my toxic past, was the people pleasing and the manipulator of the people pleaser, and realizing that that's not something that serves my highest good, and now allowing people to be as they are, as they come, and not feeling disarmed because someone shows up exactly as they are, rather just not having any expectations as to who I think they should be, rather letting them be exactly who they are. These are things that we learn as we continue the journey. But it first begins with letting go of resentment. If we never let go of resentment, we'll never learn how to do this gracefully in our lives, because we'll always be driven by that anger and that pain. I just realize now that if I reach out to him, it's not going to serve my highest good. I've spent plenty of time talking to my guides and my team about it, and right now on my journey where I'm at, silence is the best possible thing for me. And that might be what it is for you too, and that's okay. But being honest with yourself, that is a non-negotiable that we should have for ourselves. Okay, we have fate on the bottom, detours and divine intervention. So this is a divine intervention. This is a message from source. I'm doing an intervention in your life right now, because it's so important that you step up to this next level that you're being asked to step up to. Wow. Blah, blah, blah. Wow. Okay, so we have Chiron. This is interesting. I was actually watching a video this morning that was talking about Chiron. And it's better to be in a state of healed rather than the wounded healer, because the wounded healer still is in the victim mindset, right? And still run by our emotional ego. And so it's hurt and heal. This is just showing how difficult this situation has been. And so we don't want to be in the wounded healer state, right? We don't want to be in that place of where it's like, oh, well, we're healing, but we're still wounded. We're coming from a place of hurt, but we're still focusing on trying to heal other people. We're still coming from a very emotionally charged place. What we want to do is face our emotional charge and heal it. We have to go through it. We can't use healing others as an excuse not to face ourselves. And that's kind of what Chiron talks about a little bit, okay? All right, so we've got, wow, melting mask. Allow your spirit self to shine through the many roles you fulfill, right? You already fulfill a lot of roles. We have number 7 with 16 here. So coming back to that place of luck when you change what it is that you've been doing. And sometimes that's the hardest thing for us, because I don't know about you, but on my spiritual journey, I tended towards arrogance when I first started healing. I didn't believe that anybody could change me or show me anything that I didn't already know. And I'm going to tell you, I got humbled really quick. there's always something we can learn. There's always something that we can observe, and there's always more that we can take in that's going to help us become a higher version of ourselves. It is a never-ending journey, and there's so much information out there that can create so many different avenues and roads for us to take. And so I feel like with this, it's just reminding us that there's luck waiting for us, but we have to put down the mask that maybe we don't realize is a mask until we face ourselves with honesty. Miracles and blessings. Everything has its gifts. So even though this was a very difficult situation, there is still a blessing here. Okay? Clear your mental and physical clutter. You will feel so much better. So clearing out the physical clutter that's been because of the situation, or the mental and the physical clutter, right? So when we clear our mental, then we can clear our emotional, which helps us clear our physical. Determination. Be determined to align with your highest good here, right? I feel like why this is such a difficult message is because if it was labeled anything else, you wouldn't have clicked on it. But needing to hear this message is vital for your journey moving forward. And I don't feel like I'm telling you anything new. I feel like what I'm telling you is confirming exactly what your intuition has been telling you this whole time. You've been getting nudges at it, but maybe just ignoring it because it doesn't go in the big blueprint of what the emotional ego is saying. And sometimes that's easy for us to ignore guidance that's vital for us because we're over here saying, oh, no, like I know it better or I can do it better. And that's okay. That's just part of being human, right? Renewals, the spark. Source is trying to renew the spark within your journey to help you reconnect with what makes you passionate. But this was an unexpected storm. This took you by surprise, right? As it would anybody going through difficulties like this. Spy and watching, again, social media and spy. So maybe you're spying on this person. This person could very well be spying on you because they're thinking about you all the time, and you might be feeling nudges of their energy as well. So again, I say both sides. Honor where you're at. You know, I'm not here telling you have to tell everybody in the comment section that, yeah, I'm the one that's spying on them. That's not what this is. It's just honoring where you're at. Because we all flip-flop through our roles in life, and we have to be honest with ourselves with where we're at that moment in order for us to have radical self-acceptance. Celebration, abundance. Yeah, Source is going to bring good things into your life. Okay, there's newness that's coming to you. All right, let's see what the fairy message is for you from this reading. A blessing of stability. And we got 32. So this is the number 5 card, the blessing of honesty. And 32, which is 5, we have a blessing of stability. Look at this rock, what is that, a rock sculpture? What do they call that? A rock formation or rock balancing, whatever it is that they build. But look, she's sitting on the top of it. It looks absolutely insane. But it's so symbolic to our life because that's oftentimes how we, look, I opened the book right to it. Oh my gosh, a blessing of stability on this side. What? That's awesome. That's so good. I love that synchronicity. Yeah, so that's often a metaphor for life. It's not stable what we're building, but somehow we find stability within the chaos. So it says the fairy gift of balance and home, of a balance and home that can be found within yourself. It says, accept now, a fairy friend. Wow, let me try that again. Accept now, fairy friend, this blessing of the fae, the ability to find balance, a center, and a home from which strength can spring forth. They who cannot be parted from the land, who resist all attempts to banish them, who dwell between the worlds, now offer you this gift of balance and stability. When this gift comes to you, you will be as centered and balanced as the land, with a sense of deep belonging and love of where you are, and a feeling of your home being the safe, joyous, and fulfilling place it can be. When this blessing comes to you, there will be great balance as you will be connected to the terrestrial and the celestial. When this blessing comes, you will find you have the influence and ability to create what you need within your home and heart. And you will be able to resist any who oppose you or do not understand you. Right? So it's coming. The stability is going to be you being able to discern those who are aligned with you and those who are not. How powerful is that? With this gift comes the ability to find the right location for you, the place within the world where you are meant to be at this moment, and know that it is destiny at play. You are of the earth and the stars, fairy friend. You're finding your own domain, and you will be blessed with a home that is your own, with a stability and balance within that space. And you will celebrate, again, just who you are without fear of discrimination or misunderstanding. It says healthy relationships can be yours when this blessing comes to you. And strength, power, and influence are yours when this gift is made yours. Be blessed, friends, for with the gift of the fairies, and know that you will find the place you belong in the world. This is so telling, right? Because maybe you thought this person was where you belonged. Maybe you thought they were home to you, right? But we see here that what is coming from this is just that radical honesty with self, knowing that it's okay for you to have that integrity with yourself. If you're not giving it to yourself, how can we ever ask another person to give us that, right? And this is a very difficult message. Let me just say that, like, I'm so proud of you. If you stuck it out, let me tell you, I'm so proud of you, because this is a very hard message. And this is what tarot can do for us. It can really help us look into the subconscious of ourselves and deliver those tough messages that we're struggling to accept about ourselves. And if we allow it to, right? If we allow it to, sometimes we don't want to allow it to because we don't want to face that part of ourselves. And that's just being human. That's okay, right? Why do I say my fellow humans? Because we're all here trying to figure it out. We're struggling through these societal constructs and these beliefs that were never ours to hold to begin with. But somehow we made them ours, and then they're creating a lot of dissonance within our journey and ourselves. And so right now, the blessing of honesty is yours, and that's the honesty of being brutally honest with yourself twice over, right? 2 different cards, twice over. And then blessing of building that stability in your life based on that honesty. Okay, so yes, this person thinks only about you, but regardless of what this person is thinking about with you, Source had a very important message to give to you, because otherwise you wouldn't have found it in the way that you needed to find it. And I feel like that's why it came out the way that it did. Source didn't really want to talk about this person. They wanted to talk about the honesty that you're sharing with yourself, and how honest are you being with yourself right now? Or is it easier to sit and blame another person right now than it is to be honest with yourself? And if that's where you are, that's okay. But hearing the message plants the seed, and it allows you to one day open up to the truth that it's okay for you to be honest with yourself. Well, it's okay to also surrender situations that aren't aligned with you, even though we wanted them to be so badly aligned with us along the journey. Okay? I'm so sorry. Let me give you this beautiful, beautiful energetic hug. Just remember, you're a very, very amazing, wonderful person. You're not bad. There's nothing wrong with you. And even though these difficult messages are part of Saturn's tough love, right? Sometimes we need that tough love so that we can find clarity for ourselves. But this is what I see here for you, and I'm so immensely proud of you for sticking it out, because that takes a lot of courage and a lot of guts. But if you felt like this was your message, leave the little candle below and say, it is through honesty with myself, radical honesty, that I am able to free myself from the chains of the past and begin again on a stable, beautifully built, integral foundation. And if it resonated with you, it means so much to me if you were to like, comment, and subscribe below. And if you're interested in supporting the channel further, check out the description box. It has everything you need, including how to reach me for a personal reading, as well as how to join as a member here on the channel. With that, I do want to take a quick second to thank your guides, your spirit messengers, your angel source, and my spirit guides for coming together to give us this ridiculously deep, amazing message. And until next time, stay human. Bye.